Elon Musk sat in his sleek, high-tech office at SpaceX, reviewing the latest reports on Mars colonization efforts when an urgent notification flashed on his private quantum-encrypted communication channel. It was from his most classified research division, a team dedicated to tracking anomalous space signals. The data showed an unusual electromagnetic pulse originating from the remote mountain regions of Tibet, something unlike any naturally occurring phenomenon or known human technology. The signal was not random, it had a structured, repeating pattern, almost like a message. Elon leaned back in his chair, his mind racing. Over the years, he had grown accustomed to strange discoveries, but this one was different. The intensity of the signal, the complexity of its waveform, everything pointed to something extraordinary. He immediately summoned a small group of his most trusted engineers and scientists, instructing them to prepare for a field expedition. This wasn't something he could simply delegate, he needed to see it with his own eyes. Within hours, a private jet was fueled and ready. On board were cutting-edge drones equipped with multi-spectrum scanners, AI-driven analytical systems, and experimental quantum sensors designed to detect anomalies beyond the standard electromagnetic spectrum. The journey to Tibet was long, but Elon barely noticed his mind was already constructing hypotheses. Was this a remnant of an ancient civilization? A hidden military experiment? Or perhaps something far beyond human understanding? Upon arrival, the team was met with harsh conditions. The mountainous terrain was unforgiving, with unpredictable snowstorms and jagged cliffs making traversal treacherous. But the signal remained strong, guiding them toward a deep, narrow valley surrounded by towering rock formations. As they ventured deeper, their instruments began detecting unusual fluctuations in the atmosphere. The air itself seemed charged, almost vibrating with an unseen energy. Then they saw it. Half buried under layers of rock and ice was a structure, smooth, metallic, and eerily symmetrical. It was not like anything built by humans. The material reflected light in an unnatural way, shifting hues depending on the angle of observation. Approaching closer, Elon noticed intricate engravings along its surface, forming patterns that defied conventional mathematics. It was ancient, yet its technology appeared untouched by time. The team stood in awe, realizing the magnitude of their discovery. This was no ordinary wreckage, it was an artifact from beyond Earth. But the real mystery lay within. What or who was inside? Elon Musk stood before the colossal, otherworldly structure, his breath visible in the cold mountain air. The closer he got, the more he could feel an almost imperceptible hum vibrating through his body, as if the very fabric of space-time was distorted around the object. His team of scientists and engineers worked quickly, setting up scanners and high-powered instruments to analyze the strange metal. Every reading they took defied logic. The structure emitted no heat, no radiation, yet it seemed to be generating its own gravitational field, however faint. "This isn't human," one of the researchers murmured, staring in disbelief at the data pouring onto their screens. Elon simply nodded, his eyes locked on what appeared to be a sealed entrance. There was no visible handle, no seams, just an unbroken, perfectly smooth surface. Instinct took over. Elon reached out and pressed his palm flat against the metal. The moment his skin made contact, the engravings across the surface lit up in a cascade of shifting blue and gold, flowing like liquid light. The structure responded to his touch. The ground trembled slightly beneath them as a faintly glowing doorway materialized before their eyes, opening with an eerie silence. A cold gust of air, thick with the scent of ozone and something unrecognizable, seeped from within. Elon turned to his team. "Whatever's inside, history changes today." Cautiously, they stepped into the unknown. The interior was impossibly vast, far larger than the exterior dimensions suggested. A cavernous hall stretched out before them, illuminated by pulsing veins of energy running along the walls and ceiling. The architecture was elegant yet entirely alien, with smooth, flowing curves that seemed to shift subtly when not directly observed. Strange glyphs adorned the walls, glowing softly with an ancient power. At the center of the room stood what appeared to be a massive, circular console. It hovered inches above the ground, suspended in place by an unseen force. Elon approached it carefully, his mind racing. This wasn't just a wreckage, this was functional. Whatever intelligence had built this craft had either left it behind intentionally or had never returned to claim it. His hand hovered over the console, hesitant yet thrilled. If this was a ship, could it still be operational? And if so, where had it come from? More importantly, where could it go? Before he could process his next move, the glyphs on the walls began shifting rapidly, forming new patterns. The air thickened with an unseen energy, and then a voice. Not in any language spoken by humans, yet somehow, Elon understood. "Welcome, traveler. You are not the first. But you may be the last." The team exchanged shocked glances. The discovery had just escalated beyond anything they had ever imagined. Elon stood frozen as the voice echoed through the chamber. It was deep, resonant, and carried a strange weight, as if it wasn't just heard but felt in the very core of his mind. His team, wide-eyed and tense, instinctively stepped back, their breaths shallow. The air seemed heavier, charged with an energy none of them could comprehend. "Who? Or what are you?" Elon asked, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of thoughts racing through his mind. The symbols on the walls continued to shift, glowing brighter with each passing second. The console in the center flickered, its surface rearranging into a pattern that looked eerily like a star map, except the constellations were unrecognizable. "I am the last remnant of a civilization that once reached beyond time itself," the voice responded, still speaking in a way that bypassed language entirely. "And you, Elon Musk, stand at the precipice of a choice that will define the future of your kind." The team exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of awe and fear. Elon took a step forward, his gaze locked onto the pulsating glyphs. "What choice?" The map shifted, zooming in on a single, unfamiliar planetary system. Then, without warning, the entire room darkened, and suddenly, it was as if they were standing in the middle of space itself. Stars stretched infinitely in all directions, swirling with celestial beauty. Then, in an instant, the image changed. A burning planet. Ruins of cities that had once stood proud. A civilization advanced beyond anything Earth had yet achieved, reduced to ashes. "This was us," the voice said, and for the first time, there was something in its tone, sorrow, regret, something almost human. "We reached too far, too fast. We ignored the warnings. And when the balance was broken, the collapse was inevitable." Elon exhaled slowly. "You're saying humanity is heading for the same fate?" A pause. Then, "Yes." The image changed again. Earth, as seen from space. Then, flashes of possible future cities thriving with new technologies beyond imagination, interstellar travel, limitless energy. But also war, desolation, the planet stripped bare, lifeless. Elon clenched his jaw. "How do we stop it?" The console pulsed, its light intensifying. The knowledge contained within this vessel was meant for those who seek to understand, not conquer. Your species stands at a crossroads. Continue on your current path, and destruction is inevitable. But if you are willing to learn, the future is still unwritten. The team stood in stunned silence. This was it. A discovery that would rewrite history, that could change the fate of the entire human race. Elon placed a hand on the console. "Show me." The room erupted in light. The chamber was engulfed in a blinding brilliance, an intricate dance of colors never before seen by human eyes. Elon felt an almost electric surge course through his body, as if the very knowledge of this lost civilization was reaching out to him, whispering secrets that had been buried for millennia. The holographic star map expanded, displaying vast stretches of the cosmos, with lines of glowing text appearing in midair, decoding themselves in real time. Elon's team watched in awe, barely breathing. This is unlike anything we've ever encountered," one of the scientists muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. "This could change everything." The voice resonated once more, its tone now carrying an unmistakable urgency. The knowledge you seek is here, but understanding it will require more than intelligence. It will demand wisdom, restraint, and the courage to act before it is too late. Elon's eyes scanned the shifting data. Complex equations, technological schematics beyond human comprehension, models of propulsion and energy systems that defied conventional physics. It was as if they were staring at the blueprint for the future in answer to problems humanity hadn't even realized it was facing yet. But then, another section of the map lit up, displaying a system at the edge of the galaxy. The holographic image zoomed in, revealing a dormant object floating in the vast emptiness of space's structure, massive, ancient, and eerily similar to the vessel they had just discovered. "This is not the only one," the voice continued. "Scattered across the stars are remnants of those who came before. Some hold knowledge. Others hold warnings." Elon's mind raced. If there were more of these ships, more relics of a lost civilization, then the implications were staggering. What had really happened to them? Was it a technological disaster? A war? Or something even more terrifying? "What destroyed you?" Elon asked, his voice steady, but beneath it lay a weight of anticipation. The air seemed to tremble as the response came. "A force beyond what we understood. Beyond what you can yet comprehend. And it is not gone." Silence fell over the chamber. The team exchanged uneasy glances. Elon narrowed his gaze at the floating structure on the map. "Then we have work to do." The console pulsed again, and suddenly, symbols rearranged themselves into a sequence coordinates. A location. A starting point for what would be the most important journey in human history. "Humanity's fate is not yet sealed," the voice said, its tone carrying a strange sense of hope. "But you must move quickly. The choice is yours, Elon Musk." Elon straightened, determination burning in his eyes. "Then let's get to work." The mountain winds howled through the cavern as the holographic display faded, leaving Elon and his team in stunned silence. The weight of what they had uncovered was almost too immense to process. An ancient intelligence warning of an unseen threat, lost technology far beyond human understanding, and the terrifying knowledge that something still lurked in the void of space. Elon turned to his team. "We're not just standing at the edge of discovery," he said, his voice firm. "We're standing at the edge of responsibility. We can't ignore this." One of the scientists, Drive Levin, hesitated before speaking. "But if what they're saying is true, whatever destroyed them could still be out there." "Exactly," Elon replied. "And we have no idea how much time we have." They gathered as much data as they could, downloading the encrypted files and mapping the coordinates that had appeared in the final moments of the transmission. But as they worked, the chamber began to shake. The ground trembled, dust falling from the ceiling, and the alien ship itself emitted a low, resonant hum. "It's activating something," one of the engineers shouted. "Or shutting something down," another replied. Elon watched as the alien glyphs flickered. The ship had been dormant for thousands of years, but their presence had awakened something. He had a choice: either risk staying to learn more or escape before the structure collapsed around them. "Move out," Elon commanded. "We've got what we need." The team rushed toward the exit, scrambling through the narrow passageways. Behind them, the ship groaned, the energy within it flickering dangerously. Just as they reached the surface, a blinding light shot upward from the cave's entrance, an energy beam piercing the clouds, as if sending a final message to the cosmos. Elon shielded his eyes, watching as the beam faded. "They know we've found it," he murmured. "Who does?" Levin asked. Elon exhaled. "I don't know. But we need to be ready." Weeks passed. The discovery of the alien vessel remained classified, known only to Elon's most trusted circle. His companies worked in secret, analyzing the data, running simulations, and deciphering the technology hidden within the ship's ancient blueprints. One night, as Elon stood alone in the SpaceX command center, staring at a star map on the screen, a notification appeared on his private server. The data they had recovered had finally processed. The AI assistant read the message aloud. Deciphered message complete. Awaiting authorization to display. Elon hesitated, then nodded. Show me. The screen filled with symbols, rapidly translating into English. The message was simple. They are coming. Elon's fingers tightened into a fist. Humanity was no longer just reaching for the stars. Now, they had to prepare for what lay beyond them. This was only the beginning.